All right, we've got our real estate expert in the house here with us today. It's Stefanie Pratt with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group. Stefanie, glad to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So market in full swing right now. What's going on? Tell me, give us a little bit of an update.
Well, the fall market just got started, so we'll see that trend through the end of the year. I try to tell people if you're going to sell, do it this year or in the spring at the latest, because next year, no matter what happens on a presidential election, we have a slowdown in the fall. It's been historic, so I'm trying to make sure everybody gets on track to get something going by June of next year, so they can actually take advantage of whatever the market's going to bring even next year.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point to make. Maybe people aren't thinking that far ahead of time to know, like, now is the time if you want to be in the housing market. So let's talk to our buyers, our people that are looking maybe to upgrade or just to buy maybe their first home. What should they be looking for, and what is the importance of having someone like you in the dialogue?
Well, we have to get a pre-approval, even if they're not ready. I've even got some right now that are looking for, they're going to look more towards the spring of next year, or they want to actually get ahead of things and maybe they're not ready. I get them to a lender, and let's get your buying power and see if we need to work on anything credit-wise, paying anything down, if you need to save some more money. It's very important to actually get together and do that. And then we can start looking at houses online. That way, when they're ready to go, we're prepared to actually jump.
Yeah, and I think an interesting point to make would be, people could be looking for dream houses or components that they love, but not every house will probably have everything. How do you know what to give and take on versus like, okay, I really want this though?
Well, what's your key things? What's your living like? I mean, what do you need your house for? Do you like a big kitchen? Do you do a lot of entertaining? What are those things that, need to be the main components? Then, you can actually maybe do 1.5 baths if you're in a smaller home rather than just a 1 bath. Maybe you say, no, I have to have 2 baths. I have to have a fenced yard for my dogs. We have to look at the halves and the likes and go from there. Paint colors can be changed. Flooring can be changed. Let's look at the guts and the components. Price, location, and that's a big thing.
Yeah, the things that are maybe a little bit more difficult to change, like location. Let's now shift and let's talk to those that are selling their homes. What should they be considering? And again, the importance of having you involved in that.
Well, people think that the fall market and the winter market is slow, and I'll tell you, I've personally seen the fall and the winter markets be the stronger one rather than the spring. So when people start taking their houses off the market, you still have people buying. We're a very transient town with the university and all that we bring to it. So we have to always have that inventory. So, a big December, could actually happen. I've had a $5 million December 2 years ago,
wow,
which was crazy. And January was big, but then we have slow Januaries. It's important to keep it on there because you never know who's looking at that home because everybody's online.
Yeah. And how do you know at what point in the process to start, okay, I'm going to call Stefanie now. It's time to involve Stefanie Pratt in this. How do you know whether you're buying or selling, when to start involving you?
As soon as they're thinking. We start talking. We can start the conversations. We start keeping in touch. I've got some that are actually not going for another couple weeks, some that are not going till the spring. But we get together, maybe we put it in our private listing networks with no showings, and we're trying to build, some anticipation of, what the market's actually looking like for those, because agents and buyers can see in that system that are working with an agent, I should say, not public stuff. And they can actually look at those and just get an idea. And maybe we just wait till we're waiting until February to actually put it on when the snow breaks. It just depends on what their timeline is.
So it's at least worth starting the conversation.
Definitely.
You can help kind of guide the process of like, hey, you are ahead of the game and I love that. Let's start here. We'll reconnect then. And maybe these are some good starting points. So at least worth the conversation. Another fun thing I want to make sure we mention is the Rockin' Express. This seems to be like peak wedding season, even though I know a lot of people think it's summer. I'm convinced it's fall. I'm sure you're very busy with some of your transportation options.
Yep, the party bus is really rented out nicely, and so is the limo. So it's continuous, but that's a big business for me. I didn't even realize I was going to. I just bought it for me, for us to actually have something to go to transportation in, and then before you know it,
everybody wants it.
Everybody wanted it, so I kept adding vehicles, but I'm done right now. 2 limos and a party bus is enough.
Hey, that is plenty. Now, if someone is planning that they're having a wedding or some sort of event in the next couple months or year, how far ahead of time do people need to book this?
Well, it depends on what we have booked. The sooner the better, because we can get the deposit and all that stuff down. But I've had people. I usually need at least a week advance notice, depending on what's available, because I have to get a driver coordinated.
Okay.
They have other schedules too. Sometimes
Right.
I have to do last minute. I saved a wedding over in Peoria. Last minute, we jumped into action for an event coordinator to help her out.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Seems like you do everything.
well, it's no fun sitting still, so you got to do something in life, right?
I love it. So if you need anything in life, just call Stefanie. But
And then,
specifically,
my minister thing. That
yes, ordained.
Getting ordained will marry a friend of mine.
Oh my gosh. So you can provide the house, then also the transportation, and also you can be the one that officiates
Yes.
everything. Pretty impressive, I'd say. Well, thanks so
fun.
much for joining us.
Thank you.
Always fun to have you, Stefanie. If you are interested in starting that conversation with Stefanie, whether it be buying or selling a house, or maybe for some transportation for your next event, we'll connect you with the details over on our website, CILiving.tv, and we do appreciate Stefanie and her team for sponsoring our segment this afternoon.